Dakuru Batabo. Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. Good evening. It seems the killing of the wanted armed robber and kidnapper Onuigwe Wadi and his gang may not have restored total peace in MOA and its environs. This is as a middle-aged man from Rumusi community in Obiakpo local government area yesterday narrated his ordeal in captivity after he was kidnapped along with 3 other persons while traveling along Rumodogo axis of the east-west road in MOA local government area on Sunday. Speaking on this, the chairman of the MOA local government area, Dr. Chidi Lloyd, said there are other criminal elements that are terrorizing the Edoa and Rumodogo axis of the east-west road. Dr. Lloyd said his administration is working with the security agencies to ensure that they are arrested and brought to justice.
The liquidation of Ward Onigwe and some members of his gang is not yet uhuru for us in the local government. And that is why we have said that it is still work in progress. There are other criminal elements in Odoha, Emoha, and Rumodogo that are terrorizing the Odoha and the Eveku Aziz. We are closing in on them. Very soon, success will be recorded. The Nigerian police have been very, very dutiful, and I would not hesitate to commend the Commissioner of Police and his team for the new vigor that has been restored to peacekeeping in Rivers State. We will continue to do our best to provide support to the police.
The MOA Council boss, Judy Lloyd, also said that his administration will stop at nothing in giving all necessary support to the security agencies to fight crime in the area.
I also commend the Commissioner of Police for the assiduity with which the job was done. We continue to plead with them to assist us to restore sanity in some parts of the local government where this criminality is taking place, especially the Emohwa or the axis of the east-west road. I will stop at nothing to ensure that road users use the road without encumbrances. We regret all that has happened.
Dr. Lloyd also appealed to members of the public, especially residents of MOA, to provide information to the security agencies to aid their operations. Speaking on the kidnap of Justice Azunda, protocol officer, former chief of staff to River State government, Emeka Woke, who was abducted by late Wadi and his gang 2 weeks ago, said they are still working to ensure that Mr. Azunda is released unconditionally.
It is very disheartening that a boisterous young man like that will be taken and nothing has been heard. The police is working, and I want to assure our people that very soon we will inform them on the true state of affairs regarding the kidnap of Justice Azunda.
In the meantime, the MOA Council boss has lifted the ban on the movement of motorcycles in the area.
We also call on members of the public to provide credible intelligence. Once we have intelligence, we'll work on it. And like I've said severally, we will treat any information given to us with utmost fidelity. So I'd also want to say that the ban on motorcycles in the local government is hereby lifted in order to alleviate the suffering of our people. We'll continue to be vigilant. I call on everybody to be vigilant and say something wherever you see something.
Meanwhile, commander of a local security outfit in Rumusi community, popularly known as OSPAC, Steve Owunda Amadi, has urged the council chairman of MOA local government area, Chidi Lloyd, to reinstate the disbanded OSPAC in MOA LGA for collaborative efforts in fighting insecurity in the area. Mr. Owunda Amadi, who is also the chief security officer of the Rumusi community, said only a combined tactical security team can guarantee permanent peace in the area.
The local government chairman of Amoha local government, he should do something over the security in Amoha local government. The OSPAC, the MOV, and the police apparatus. Let him form a team over Amoha local government because it is too bad. I want to advise him, he should try to empower the local vigilante properly. They get the MOVs, he should invite the OSPAC. If first come to us, it should be our superior being Omok. Let us put a stop on what is happening between that East West Road. We can't work with MOV because MOV is not OSPAC.
Some indigents of MOA LGA also commended the council for placing a bounty on criminals.
For that east-west road, they start with one Mr. Ekweme. They terrorize that Ndele, still east-west axis. After they kill Ekweme, this Mr. Wadi come out again to come terrorize his own. I believe, say, with no time, other boys to feast come out, they feast no come out. The council boss placing money as a means of fighting security. Now, good thing. At times, people need ginger to use work.
To tackle security issues, I believe every organization or agency have their own measures. To bring down a strong man, then you need a strong team. Maybe that is the perspective that the boss of the LGA decided to use.
The family of a middle-aged woman, Queen Chinda from Impolu Oroworoko community in Port Harcourt City local government area, says their daughter, a single mother of two, has been missing for over 3 weeks. Her cousin Beauty Chinda, in an interview with our correspondent, said they last saw her on the 24th of May after she left for the market around Ingbushimini, Ajib area in Port Harcourt, close to where she resides. They called on anyone with useful information about her whereabouts to report to the police.
These NICDC operatives, they are working on that chain. We may use this opportunity to reach out to Shell and River State government and Nigeria as a whole to come to the aid of this young man that was shot unduly. He has family and he has responsibilities to take care of. The hospital bill and the rest. They have damaged his leg. You need to see.
Sorry for the mix-up in the soundbite. The committee said to investigate the reason for the blockage of the River State office of the NSCDC is still being awaited. The committee was set up by the Commandant General of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ahmed Audi, headed by the DCG in charge of operations, Dauda Mungadi, and it is to investigate the role played by the state commandant and members of the command anti-vandal team in the crisis that led to the blockage of the state office of the NSCDC by Nupeng yesterday. The situation also led to the removal of the River State Commandant, Michael Oga. A statement by the Director of Public Relations of the NSCDC, Olushola Odumosu, and directed him to hand over the affairs of the command to his deputy pending the deployment of a substantive state commandant. Moving on, some victims of last year's flood in Ngeni, out of West Local Government area of River State, have raised alarm over attempts by some officials of the local government area to distribute the relief materials meant for last year's flood victims to members of their political party. Recalled last month, the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs donated relief materials to NEMA for distribution to the flood victims. Speaking with our correspondent on the situation in Ngeni, one of the flood victims alleged that the council officials have already collated the names of their party members. He explained that some genuine flood victims were also not allowed to write their names.
That they are doing it as a policy show. Some of our people that went there are supposed to write their name, but they did not allow them to write it. So they left there just like that. And we've not heard anything from them till now. They say that they will give form, but when our people went there, they say that there is no form again. My brother, they are doing it as a policy. It's like they know the people they have given slot. They are not giving it to everybody. Our people that went there, they were many, and they told them that there is no form. The people that are supposed to give our people is from a pair, and they say that there is no form again. Why after that time we heard that it's still issuing form?
Speaking on this, the president of the Ngeni Youth Assembly, Onemo Okenya, appealed to NEMA to come to the aid of the real victims of the flooding.
As it is, a lot of persons in Ngene Kingdom are complaining that they are yet to give them, the form. Now, what happens to that old woman in the community who has no passport or who is not able to read and write? What happens there? Does it mean that the relief material will not get to them? If the local government chairman should now say that people should come and pick up a form before you can get a relief material that is ordinarily meant for the flood victims. So I want to appeal to NEMA once again to please listen to our call, listen to our cry. Because
reacting to this, the South Zonal Coordinator of NEMA, Godwin Tepiko, said the materials are meant for victims of last year's flood disaster. Mr. Tepiko promised to investigate the allegation.
I say I will find out. The local government came to receive these items on behalf of the local government.
on behalf of the people of the local government. And if you are going to do distribution, we will know. That's why I say I will find out. I say I will find out. And you are just giving me the information, isn't it? And I say I will find out. There is no way they will do this thing. There will not be criticism.
Okay.
Giving to party first food, they are not giving to party food. For us, we don't know. No party is written on anybody's face, on the forehead, to know this is party A or party B. It's not our interest. Our interest is people affected by the disaster in that local government.
A former national president of the National Association of River State Students, Dan Jumbo Vincent, says if the student loan initiative must be successful, then the government must pay attention to the creation of more jobs in the country. Mr. Vincent said this while speaking with our correspondent. Mr. Vincent said the creation of more jobs will empower the students to pay back the loans when due.
However, achievements cannot be complete without putting in place measures to ensure that genuine indigent students actually have access to this facility. We also want to see a situation where the budgetary provision for education be stepped up to 15% as recommended by the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. We also advise the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration to also focus on job creation as promised in his manifesto, which will in turn ensure that the beneficiaries of this loan pay back as at when due.
But speaking during Nigeria Info FM's Morning Crossfire, the current president of the National Union of River State Students, Monmon Precious, urged students not to be afraid of repayment of the loan. Mr. Monmon expressed optimism that the Tinubu administration will create job opportunities to enable students to pay back their loans after graduation.
Looking at repayment aspect, it's not something you pay immediately. It's something you pay 2 years after NYSC. I believe at that point you are already balanced. Let us believe that for the government of the day, which is a new one, barely 14 days to have made provisions like this, let us believe and be hopeful that they will make provision for employment for those students that have collected loans from them. Because it is a new government, we cannot just preempt them that they won't make provisions for jobs. For them to, in barely 14 days, deem it necessary to make provisions like this, which is part of our yearnings over the years, then we believe that that of job creation is something that will be considered because they've started well. They met with the leadership of the union as well.
Mr. Momon also believes that the student loan will have positive impact on the nation's educational system if properly executed.
Students' part, we consider it as a welcome development. You recall that sometime last year, I said that River State government should make a provision like this for students to access loans. Particularly that was during the issue in RSU that led to the hike in tuition fee, that students were finding it difficult to pay their fees. Supposing there was something like this in place, I believe it wouldn't have led to the protest we embarked on that very morning. So we consider it as a welcome development.
A public affairs analyst, Opunabo Inkotaria, has urged President Bola Tinubu to substantiate the allegation against the suspended EFCC chairman, Abdulrasheed Bawa, to dispel insinuation that his suspension was a witch hunt. Mr. Inkotaria, in an interview with correspondent Emeka Otuka, said there has not been any evidence of corrupt practice against Mr. Bawa. He said until this is done, Bawa's suspension will continue to be seen as politically motivated based on his investigation of the president before the 2023 general election.
We want the president to tell the world, disclose to Nigerians the so-called crimes, the reasons for which he was suspended. We want the president to let us know, like Justice Stewart rightly said, justice must not only be done, but must manifestly seem to have been done. So he has to tell the world that this man is being suspended for this reason. Then Nigerians will be satisfied. But if he fails to so do, then Nigerians will believe that it is just witch hunting, and in most cases that those were just trumped up charges.
Recall that Bawa was suspended by President Bola Tinubu indefinitely following weighty allegations of abuse of office. According to a statement by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the President ordered Mr. Bawa's suspension to allow for a proper investigation into his conduct while in office. Meanwhile, Mr. Abdul Karim Chukol has taken over as the acting chairman of the commission. Chukol is an alumnus of the Federal Bureau of Investigation's National Academy, Quantico, the European Center of Security Studies, Germany, and also a fellow of the War College, Nigeria. Still ahead, family of detained IPOB leader terminate appointment of Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer. Stay tuned as we go for a quick commercial break.
You are
rest of the news. Paramount ruler of Rumaolu community, Eze Sambaliegwa, says his entire cabinet, including Vincent Waibiko and Tony Injo, have condemned the alleged harassment of members of the committee by some team from the River State Police Command headed by Grace Nwogu. In a public notice, they called on the Inspector General of Police, Usman Akali Baba, and the Commissioner of Police, CP Nwanyemeka, to check the activities of the monitoring unit before it degenerates to a state of lawlessness. The notice also accused some policemen and Victor Okechukamadi, who they said is the former CDC chairman of the community, alongside Mike Oyakri, of land grabbing. The notice says they perpetuate the alleged act despite a court order and directive by the chairman of Ikoyi local government area, Samuel Wanosike, involving the Rumaolu, Alu, and Rumekini community. It said that one person from the Obakari community in the Emwa local government area of River State has been killed over the land dispute. Reacting to this, Victor Kechukamadi says that he is still the CDC chairman, as there is a high court order restraining Kingsley Woku from parading himself as CDC chairman, and not order restraining Israel and Eze Samuel Kini Kanwo Inyegwa from parading as the Royal Highness of the community. He said Michael Yakri has petitioned the police to arrest Victor Amadi and co. because his land grading machines were burnt by them. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Dele Alake as the Special Advisor, Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, Yao Darazo as Special Advisor, Political and Intergovernment Affairs, Wale Edu as the new Special Advisor, Monetary Policies. Olu Veijen is now a Special Advisor, Energy. In a statement signed by the Director of Information, Abiodun Oladunjoye, Mr. Zacchaeus Adedeji was also appointed as Special Advisor to the President on Revenue. Mr. Nuhu Ribadu is the Special Advisor on Security. John Ujomogu is the Special Advisor, Industry, Trade and Investment, while Dr. Salma Anas is the President's Special Advisor on Health. The family of the detained IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu, has terminated the appointment of Kanu's lead counsel, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Michael Zukume, and Ifeanyi Ejiofor. This was contained in a statement issued by Kanu's younger brother, Kanunta Kanu, today. The family of the IPOB leader said Ozekume's alleged refusal to allow Nnamdi Kanu's personal physicians access to him for the urgent ear surgery was part of the reasons for the action. In business, dollar currently sells between 753 naira and 760 naira at the black market in Port Harcourt. Recall that the Central Bank of Nigeria authorized commercial banks to freely trade foreign exchange at any rate, but banks in the city are yet to implement the new CBN directive. A bank official told our correspondent it will likely come into effect in the coming week. Meanwhile, financial experts believe the new CBN directive for the floating of the naira will strengthen the economy. Original editor of Business Day newspaper Ignatius Chukwu tells correspondent Constance Mega that it will create an enabling environment for investors.
It's creating confidence in the Nigerian economy. Stock exchange increased by 20-something%. Investors are ready to come in now that the government is removing hand. What it simply means that the government that has come in is a capitalist government, which likes the forces of demand and supply to meet anywhere, kill who it will kill, and favor who it will favor. Simple. So those sectors that were enjoying subsidy will no longer enjoy subsidy of foreign exchange.
On his part, a banker in Port Harcourt, Esogene Ebugbamu, said it will make the dollar to naira rate be determined by market forces and not the government.
It will also help to discourage black market. If the official rate is single, you don't actually need to go to the black market. Black market exists because the rate is being fixed. Definitely, it will make the dollar to be higher in the interim, but at the end of the day, the price will stabilize. The official rate before now is 400 plus, while the black market rate used to be above 700 naira. The official rate might now fall between 600 to 700. Black marketers will be discouraged. It will affect their profit margin.
In entertainment, Guinness World Record says the video announcing Nigerian chef Hilda Bassi as the new record holder for the longest cooking by an individual is the top performing tweet ever on their handle with 25 million views. Guinness World Record announced Bassi's confirmation in a video shared on their Twitter handle on Tuesday. In sports, Negotiations around the potential sale of Manchester United are still taking place with multiple parties. Reuters reports say United are negotiating exclusivity with Qatari banker Sheikh Jassim bin Ahmad Al Thani. It follows growing speculation Sheikh Jassim's bid is likely to succeed.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
On the foreign scene, Pope Francis has ordered Archbishop George Gainswen, the private secretary of the late Pope Benedict, to return to his native Germany by the end of the month without any new assignment. In a statement today, Pope Francis said the 66-year-old should return to his native country for the time being. It is unusual for someone with a relatively young age and rank in the Vatican not to have been assigned any duty. On the news this evening, you heard the chairman of MOLGA, Chidi Lloyd, has vowed to clamp down on other kidnappers, lifts ban on movement of motorcycles. Victims of flooding in Outer West River State have raised alarm over plan to divert relief materials. The family of middle-aged woman from Impulu Oroworoko, Port Harcourt, has called for help following her disappearance. President Tinubu has appointed Nuhu Ribadu and others as special advisors. The family of detained IPOB leader has terminated the appointment of Nnamdi Kanu's lawyers. On the foreign scene, Pope Francis has ordered the secretary of former Pope Benedict out of the Vatican City. The news was edited by Onyekachi Wonsu. Rain expected in Port Harcourt this evening. Peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I am Kalada Kurubatubo. Good evening.